Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kpush podcast. Today is February 9th, 2025. The Super Bowl just happened. Kendrick Lamar got everybody to call Drake a pedophile, which is pretty gangster. It's pretty gangster, if you ask me. I don't think there's anything else more gangster than pulling up to the Super Bowl and making people call your number one op a fucking pedo. That's pretty. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Drake, Kendrick fan, you gotta admit that's pretty gangster and it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never really cared much about the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles won. Is that who won? Let me see. Yeah, Philadelphia Eagles. They won 40-22. Wow. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I never watch it unless I'm invited somewhere to watch it. I've never gone out of my way to watch football. I think in my life. I don't think I've ever moved a muscle. I mean, I'll always watch football if it's like a guy's. Like I'm not gay. Like I'll watch football, but I've never been the type of guy to be like, you know what? I want to watch football for 6 hours today. My dad is though. My dad every Sunday. He bought fucking 5 TVs so he could watch all fucking 6 games at once. Because he would have ESPN highlights going on his computer too. So I guess that's not really a game, but oh my god, my dad is like a fucking weird addict to a shit, man. It's fucking odd as fuck. I wonder where I get this whole podcast obsessiveness over. But yeah, no, either way, Eagles won. Congratulations. Philadelphia's probably on fire. Philly is probably in flames. Philly probably looks like Gaza right now. You know what I mean? You know, we've sent all that money over to Israel to bomb Gaza. We might need some of that money to save Philly. We You know, all that money we sent to the Ukraine? Well, Philadelphia is about to look like the Ukraine, so we might need some of that money back. Zelensky. Zelensky, can we get that cash back? We didn't predict that the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl this year. It caused a lot of damage. We saw Trump there. Trump was there. I'm basically reading or saying what I saw on Instagram while I was taking a shit. I'm learning all this with Google and Instagram. The two best ways of learning things in today's society. It really is. So yeah, I don't really have much to say. I don't know if it was a good game or wasn't a good game. It didn't seem like a good game for the scores. That's crazy that Kansas City didn't win. You know, it seems like I've been hearing a lot of people say that their games have been rigged lately. And, you know, you got the whole thing with Taylor Swift going on. I saw something online the other day. I mean, it drove me fucking nuts. And it was something along the lines of Kendrick Lamar fans are the rap fans of Taylor Swift fans. Right? Or how the fuck did they word it? They didn't word it correctly. I know I'm not saying it as good as they did, but they didn't word it correctly either. It was something, whatever. They were comparing the fans of Kendrick Lamar to Taylor Swift fans, is what they were doing. I don't know how they worded it. It still sounded retarded. It didn't sound as retarded. So we're playing a game of retarded telephone here. Remember telephone? Remember when you were a kid and you would whisper banana, and then by the end of, it got to the other person, they'd be saying the N word somehow. It'd be like, whoa, how'd that go from banana? Well, banana to monkey to the N word. Oh, wow. Hello. Uh, that's what's going on here with this explanation of this video on Instagram I saw. Except it just gets more retarded. So this person was trying to compare Kendrick Lamar fans to Taylor Swift fans, and it got something to me where it's like you can't compare them. You can't compare them. I mean, I get the point that they were trying to make, where it's like Kendrick Lamar fans are as annoying as Taylor Swift fans, but that's the whole thing. Is one is Kendrick Lamar and the other is Taylor Swift. That's where the difference lies between the two. Okay, is one has been making the same thing since they were 17 years old, kind of like this podcast, kind of like. Kind of like what's going on with what you're listening to right now. No, so you have one artist who just really hasn't changed much since she was 17, and then you got another one who's, probably the best rapper of all time. Probably. After this year. Most likely, arguably. So I just think that it's inherently different to compare. Also, I don't see Kendrick Lamar fans wearing diapers to his concert so that they don't have to miss any of it because they need to go take a shit. I don't see that. I don't see a whole lot of that going on. That might be a big difference between the two. Is when one is wearing diapers to concerts. That was a real thing. Remember when Taylor Swift fans were wearing diapers to concerts? I know people aren't going to believe this, so I'm going to pull this up because it's the most. It really did change a lot for me. Right? When you find out Taylor Swift fans are wearing diapers. Yeah, it's nuts. High sobriety? Who cares? Who gives a fuck? Ever been to a gig and had a dash to the loo right at the time of your favorite songs? Right at the time of one of your favorite songs comes on? Perhaps you've made your way to the perfect vintage point, but then realize you're about to blow. Well, have you ever thought as an adult about wearing a big diaper to eradicate these sorts of situations in the future? Me either. But then again, we aren't Swifties. This is a real article. Here. Go ahead, read it. Go ahead, it's on the screen if you really want. I'm not going to read anymore because we kind of get it. But you just can't compare the two. Either way, I'm sure they showed Taylor Swift a lot at the Super Bowl because, she knows a lot about football. She knows a lot about the game. You think Taylor could, explain what, a 10-yard penalty is? You think? I mean, I don't even care about football. I barely know anything about football. I'm sure there's rules about football that I probably should know, just as a man living in America, but I probably don't. But, do you think she could utter, the most simplistic rules? I don't think so, but they're gonna keep showing her. So that was the Super Bowl, and that was the halftime show. It was pretty cool. Philadelphia's in flames. I don't know what else you fucking want from me. Oh, I had a note card. I had a note card of stuff I want to talk about. I thought I lost it there. I didn't. I didn't. Um, I had a pretty interesting week. You know, what? You ever have an interesting? You just go, what happened here? I had one of those this week. This week, this Monday, I decided to, you know, go see. I guess I shouldn't say on the air. I went to go get a couple happy ending massages. If you know what I mean. I went to go to get a couple of them on Monday, and I had found this website, and I messaged a bunch of different girls on the website, and the next day, after I went to go see two of the girls, um, and by the way, all this is jokes, right? None of this is real, so it's not me actually confessing to anything. But one of the girls looked like Starvin' Marvin from. One of the girls looked like Starvin' Marvin from South Park, and I couldn't get it up, cuz I couldn't I couldn't get it up. It was a real problem. I think at one point I looked down and I go, I think my dick's smaller than when I walked in here. Oh, she was pretty bad looking. She was not a looker. That's for sure. She did speak Spanish though, so I did practice. I did practice Spanish. I Yo estudio español. You know what I mean? Just sitting there trying to think of the words to say. I'm really really sorry about not getting my dick hard. Just trying to think of the Spanish words. Why? And you're trying to say it's not you, it's me, but really it is them. Ah, oh, what are you gonna do? The other one was nice. The other one was great. Had a great time with the other one. But the next day, I woke up and I got this text message, and basically the text message said something along the lines of, "I'm gonna kill you if you don't give me money." This is, by the way, this is the reason why. Um, this is the reason why I don't upload the week of. I never will upload the week of. Too much shit happens in my life I want to talk about. I gotta be talking about the past. Always. You know what I mean? So, I might be dead. I might be dead. You might never see this. By the time this comes out, the cartel members may have already gotten to me. But, no, I freaked out when I got the text a little bit. Like, the whole day I was, like, kind of off, right? Just like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And then, oh my god, how much time are we in? 15 minutes? I gotta blow my nose. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I gotta fucking, I know this is terribly, what, terribly unprofessional. Oh, sorry about that. Either way, so I was fucking got freaked out by this text message saying somebody was gonna come kill me if I didn't give them money. So what I did was I called all my black friends. I called all my black friends, and the thing that looked weird to me about the text, right, was he used words like "I'm here to inform you," and I've never heard of somebody being threatened of like, "Hey, I'm here to inform you that I will kill you." You know, I've never heard that before, so I always thought it was sort of a scam, right? But then I called my black friends. My black friends were like, "Shit, dog, this is totally a scam." You know what I mean? Shit, dog, I'll pull up. I'll fly out there. That's what they said when my friend said that. Not my fault that he said that. It's not. So they were like, "Don't worry about it." So I didn't. I tried not to, but I did go like total Home Alone the situation. You know, I set up like 3 extra locks on my door where you had to like screw them in. You know, locks that can only be locked on the inside. I set up 3 of those. I went out and I bought a Ring camera. And then I bought a taser, a door stopper, this little door alarm where if somebody even touches the door, it'll go off and it sounds like a fire drill while you were in school. Remember those fire drills? How they were like so loud, like they hurt your ears when you were right next to them? Remember that? So it's like that loud, that level of loud, and it's just on my door. And so I just absolutely look like a schizophrenic every time I walk in my apartment, just like an absolute freak show. But hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So I slept on the couch. I went out, I bought a taser, a baseball bat. I have 2 knives. I always have a knife on me. But I went out and I was like, these knives are probably dull as fuck. So I bought a knife sharpener too. I've cut myself twice now. Sharpening the knives, you know? And how am I gonna cut myself sharpening the knife and expect to fight who's ever coming in? It'd be funny if they came in right now while I was recording. Just all of a sudden in the background you hear like dish 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 dish. Hello? So yeah, that was my week. I slept on the couch for 3 nights. I left my phone on, so the Ring camera alerted me every time my neighbors walked by. And I have a taser and a baseball bat I sleep right next to now. So it's fun. It's fun. It's always fun. And then I forgot to pay the cable bill. So between buying the prostitutes, buying the Ring camera and the taser, the baseball bat, the 3 locks, the little security alarm on the door, and my cable bill that was $300 because I forgot to pay last month's cable bill as well. I was broke this week. I had no money, and so I was and by the way, when I have no money, it's not like an actual poor person's. I have no money. It's like I have to call my mom. And I have to explain to her why I don't have any money to get $100 through my next paycheck. And so I didn't want to do that this time because I would have had to been like, "Hey, mom, um, I got a couple, I got a couple happy ending massages, and then I spent all my money on security systems trying to fend off a guy who is clearly a scam." And I have a couple hunch for groceries until my next paycheck, which is Friday. Today is Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. And I didn't want to do that. So I had a little bag of ones. I have a whole like bag in my underwear drawer of ones. I've been keeping all my tips that I get from Kava in this little bag, and I was gonna take it up to my bank up in Boston, not Boston, Boston, up in fucking Boston, and so I took it and I went in and I I paid for groceries with ones. The look on a cashier's face when you hand them all ones. And I know it's the worst thing you can do to any human being is hand somebody ones while they're at their minimum wage job. I get that. I get I was the douchebag. I get it. I'm in the wrong here. I'm not arguing against it. But what do you want me to do? I forgot to pay my cable bill and I spent a little too much money on prostitutes, cuz. So what are you going to do? You almost want to explain it to him. "Hey man, I'm sorry. I had to buy a Ring camera because I messaged a bunch of girls on fucking some website I found on the dark web." And so now you gotta take my ones. But no, groceries for a week if you're being cheap now is like it's like 80 fucking bucks, 80, 90 bucks, which is what I spent. But I didn't want to hand somebody 80 or 90 bucks, so I took two trips. I took two trips to the grocery store. Um, and I did it out like 40-40. And so I had to go through it like twice, but I almost want to look at him each time that the guy rolled his eyes as I handed him 41s. I'm like, "Hey, I needed $80 worth of groceries, so I'm splitting the difference between you guys. What do you want from me? I'm trying my best." Anyway, that was my week. Constantly looking over my shoulder. I just had the taser on me all week long, freaking out. I probably still should be freaking out a little bit, but it's like, no way. No way is a cartel member waiting 6 days. And the text was so vague. It was like, "You texted too many of my girls, so now you need to pay for the girls you didn't see." And it was like, what? What is this? This is some Indian dude trying to make a buck here. But when in doubt if it's a scam or not, just don't respond. Don't respond. It's the safest bet. It's the safest bet you have. It's just not responding. So I think I'm good there. Now that you guys know. Oh yeah, groceries. I didn't want to talk about that. I mean, it's fucking crazy how expensive eggs are, man. I mean, it's fucking nuts. I know Trump is like coming in and doing all this tariff shit and he's saying it's good. And, Dave Smith is saying that he's getting some things done with the tariffs. But it's like, God fucking damn it, dude. Eggs? $8 for 12 of them? That's nuts. That's fucking crazy. So I don't know about this, this Trump election. It seems sort of like a wrecking ball. It's just coming through and destroying everything in its path. And for the most part, I think most things in the government need to be destroyed. But I don't think we'll really know if it's good or bad for a while. I mean, it's going to be a year or two before we're like, that was pretty good, or that was pretty bad. It's kind of like gambling. It's like gambling. We're like gambling with Trump, It's like we're going all in on Trump. But you don't really get to see if you hit big for a year or two, So it's just this we're in like this limbo. We're in this limbo with a bet on a president. That's what this is right now. We're in a limbo on a bet. And the limbo is always the worst part because you don't know. You don't know. You should really start to save money. And in 2 years, that money might stay in that savings account, or you might have to spend it all on groceries. And we don't know, I think. I don't think anybody really knows. Certainly nobody from my generation knows. If anybody from my generation is talking about exactly what the full impact of the Trump administration is going to be and what they're doing right now and how it's going to play out, I'm going to give you the invitation to shut the fuck up. No. I really am. If anybody between the ages of 17 to 23 has a really strong opinion on what's going on with the Trump administration right now, and they know exactly what is and what isn't going to happen, I want to give you the invitation to shut your fucking mouth. Just shut your fucking mouth. Nobody wants to hear you speak. No, there's not a single... And this is coming from somebody who is at the age of 21, who's had a podcast for about 4 years now, and nobody is listening. So let me be the first to tell you to shut the fuck up. Because you have no idea. You're not comprehensible. This is a thing with my generation I've sort of come to discover. They struggle a lot with conversation. They struggle a lot with conversation, especially conversations where they can't make noises. If you told a lot of my friends from Boston that they couldn't say gay or faggot every 20 seconds, it'd be a real problem for them. They really wouldn't know how to communicate sometimes. They really wouldn't. And I'm not saying I'm the best either. I get I'm retarded. I get it. I know that. But I do want to say that there is some sort of ability to speak that comes with talking on a podcast for 4 years. That only really comes... And also, the amount of time I've spent on, sitting down with headphones in and no phone and having a conversation. How many people in my generation sit down without a phone and have a talk? Not a lot. Not a lot of time. And so then, when they try to express their opinions on things politically, they come out as sounding a little bit like retardeds. Just a little bit retarded. And I'm like 50-50 when it comes to like me speaking in comprehensive manner. That's me. I'm like 50-50. Each sentence, every other sentence is very comprehensive. And then you get one and you're like, Chris, what the fuck are you saying? We got old dyslexic Chris over here. trying to fucking make sense of things. And it's not working. It's not looking too good. You know what I mean? And I'm 50-50 on comprehensive manner when I speak, which is a lot higher than a lot of other kids my age. Really. And it's because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with talking. It's a horrible personality trait, and anybody that knows me will tell you that he's really hard to be around sometimes. My best friends will tell you this. That's my phone. That's my Ring camera. That is my Ring camera. It's going off. One of my neighbors just got home. No, either way, it's, you know. What was the point I was making? I got really nervous for a second that somebody was going to bust through the door and try and kill me. So, yeah, a lot of kids are just not comprehensive in my generation. And that's fine. It is interesting, though, right? With my generation, you get a lot of these kids who they're all of them, they're like, I'm ADHD, I have anxiety, I have depression, I got a touch of the tism. You know, everybody's autistic in my generation. Every single person. They're all fucking retarded. And then you get a guy like RFK, and he's coming out and he's saying stuff like, oh, you know, excuse me. You know, one of the reasons why everybody might be retarded is because of the vaccines and the over medications that we put on people, and also the poison in our food. And every person is like, what? You listen to this guy? This guy. But you look around in my generation, everybody's fucking retarded, dyslexic, ADHD, they're transgender, they're bisexual, they're fucking depressed, they have anxiety. There's always something. And then there's one guy who's like, this might be the answer, and everybody's laughing at him, and you just go, hey, would you fucking look around? Nobody can have a conversation anymore without having a zin in their mouth. Okay? Nobody can have a conversation anymore without a zin in their mouth and fucking being drunk on alcohol, having 10 blinkers of the dab pen, or they can't go 5 seconds without looking on Instagram. And everybody's on SSRIs or some sort of fucking antibiotic or some sort of fucking something. And then you get this one guy who's like, yeah, this might be it. And every person's like, whatever. You say, what? What are you doing? You just told me how you have a touch of the tism. Yeah, and so, you know, speaking of everybody getting on RFK, I couldn't help but bring this up. You see Bernie Sanders yelling. I'm pulling it up on fucking screen, so if you want to watch it, you can. Bernie Sanders yelling at RFK for a onesie. Let's watch this. Can we watch this, please?
Thank you, Chairman Cassidy. And I'm going to do what I very rarely do, is actually follow up on a question from Senator Cassidy. There have been, as I understand it, dozens of studies done all over the world that make it very clear that vaccines do not cause autism. Now, you just said, if I heard correctly, well, if the evidence is there. The evidence is there. That's it. Vaccines do not cause autism. Do you agree with that?
As I said, I'm not going to go into HHS with any preordained.
I asked you a simple question, Bobby. The studies all over the world say it does not. What do you think?
Senator, if you show me those studies, I will absolutely, as I promised to Chairman Cassidy, I will apologize.
That is a very troubling response because the studies are there. Your job was to have looked at those studies as an applicant for this job. All right. Let me ask you another question about this one about COVID. Scientists with the Yale School of Public Health and University of Maryland have estimated that the COVID vaccine saved 3 million lives and prevented 18 million hospitalizations. President Trump, someone who I do not often agree with, has said that the COVID vaccine was, quote, one of the greatest miracles of the ages. That's Donald Trump. But Bobby, you had a very different perspective. At a time when thousands of Americans were dying from COVID every week, in May of 2021, you petitioned the Food and Drug Administration to revoke the emergency use of COVID vaccines. So my question to you is, were the scientists who told us that the COVID vaccine was imperative and President Trump who told us that it was this great thing, were they right or were you right when you told people that they should not take COVID shots?
Senator, I filed that lawsuit after CDC recommended the vaccine for 6-year-old children without any evidence that it would benefit them and without testing on 6-year-old children. And that was my reason for filing that lawsuit.
Was the vaccine COVID vaccine?
I do need to pause right here, dude. You're just like, you gotta appreciate Cheryl Hines just in the background of all this. I mean, while all this is going on, you're just watching the girl from Curb. I mean, a girl who gave Larry David a blowjob in Curb Your Enthusiasm and had to spit out, like, powder from her mouth. If you haven't seen that Curb episode, it's absolutely amazing. But it's just like all this is going. This is just everything has become Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Everything. I mean, everything has come up. You're just watching this, and you're just going. You're watching Bernie, and he's going. We have these studies. We have these studies all over the world. The studies. The studies from who? The pharmaceutical companies. The same ones who said that the cigarettes were healthy for you in the 1960s? Or the ones that said COVID vaccine had 100% effective? I mean, it just... And then all while that's happening, while you're watching Bernie just... Also, Bernie looks dead. I mean, Bernie did not look young in 2016, but you just go, you're starting to get a little Biden in him. Just a little Biden. Also, I was always a big fan of Bernie. So you're just watching him come out and kind of be cucked by the pharmaceutical companies, and you just go, weren't you against him? Weren't you against them? What's happened here? And again, he's never said anything, like, even in this interview, he's like, yeah, no, I'm just curious about what's going on with the pharmaceutical companies. And he's like, yeah, but these studies, they all show. They're all starting to sound like Trump. Every politician's, even Bernie's starting to sound like Trump. Well, they've done studies. They've done the studies. Well, the studies. The studies of what, dude? Study this dick in your mouth, dude. How about that? I hope RFK comes out and says that. How about you study this six-pack in your face, you old fuck? All right, they haven't gotten to the onesie thing. This better be the onesie thing. If this isn't the onesie thing, I'm going to be very upset.
I don't know. We don't have a good surveillance system, unfortunately.
We don't know?
I don't think anybody can say that. If you show me science that says that.
But, Bobby, you say if I show you, you're applying for the job. I mean, clearly, you should know this. And that is, the scientific community has established that COVID vaccines save millions of lives, and you're casting doubt. That is really problematic. All right, let me ask you another question on another
They
subject.
don't like how he's not letting him respond. This is kind of crazy with the confirmation hearing. They just
My
ask you
Republican
questions
colleagues
and then
and
cut you
President
off.
Trump are moving toward making massive cuts into Medicaid
right.
in order to provide tax
Where's
breaks
the
for the wealthiest
onesie?
people in this country. Certainly in the House of Representatives, devastating harm on children.
I can only tell you what President Trump has told me.
So that
Which
wasn't
is that-
even the onesie thing, which is, you know, kind of fucking nuts that they showed me everything but that. I don't want to say that was on purpose. But it kind of feels like it. You show me 5 minutes of a clip where Bernie just cuts him off every time he tries to respond, and then at the end of it, you know, the most ridiculous part they leave out with the onesie. I mean, the onesie thing was the most. Hold on, yeah, you gotta.
Thank you, Chairman
it's giving me
Cassidy, and
the
I'm going to do
same-
what I very rarely.
This is the thing I type up where it's Bernie Sanders yell RFK onesie, and it's still
Hold
nothing. I mean, I'm still getting nothing. It's amazing to me. This is where you know that they're fucking hiding shit, though, that they're manipulating shit. There's no way that they're not showing me the whole thing was the onesie.
Like the slogan that you coined, "Make America Healthy Again." And I strongly believe in people who billion
You get cancer, do you?
paying a nickel more for.
So I'm still trying to just find the onesie thing. If I can't find it in this clip,
Science, and I want to protect the
But you will
vaccine.
not tell the organization you founded.
oh wait, hold
And
on.
I've always believed that every abortion is a tragedy.
But
I
you
don't-
told the people in New Hampshire that it was their right. All right, let me do a last question here because I'm running out of time.
Oh, is this it?
I think the gist of what you were trying to say today is
After-
you're really pro-vaccine, you want to ask questions. You have started a group called the Children's Health
This
Defense.
is it. This is
You're
great.
the originator. Right now,
great.
as I understand it, on
Also,
their website,
you just have
they are
to
selling what's called onesies. These are
appreciate-
little things, clothing.
You have to appreciate the fact that he went on this, like, whatever it was, probably 5-7 minute rant about nonsense, cutting him off. Elizabeth Warren right next to Bernie Sanders, by the way. You gotta appreciate this for what it is. This is keeping up with the Kardashians. So let's watch how Bernie Sanders closes this whole big interrogation off.
For babies. One of them is titled Unfaxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell
$26?
us now that you will,
You can't even
now
get
that
like
you are
30 eggs for $26.
pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
That was just a few
Leadership.
months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that.
I've-
Are you supportive of this?
Bernie
I've had nothing
didn't
to
know
do with
Are
that.
you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines.
RFK just can't even not laugh at him. You gotta appreciate it. When you're caught in situations like this, you actually do just have to laugh it off. And just laughs at his face. Because he gives a fuck about a onesie. after just 5 minutes of interrogation bullshit. We'll finish this.
I will. I want good science, and I want to protect the
But you will
vaccine
not
schedule.
tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wow. Well, there's Bernie Sanders. Remember when Bernie Sanders was going to save America?
Thank you, Mr.
Remember?
Chairman. Mr. Kennedy, how's your morning going?
Whoa. Remember when that was going to happen? What are you going to do? Shit changes. Shit changes. Changes, you got to keep going. You know what? I had a drink, and I want a second one before I talk about my next one. So, and I gotta pee. So we're gonna take a quick pee break, and I'm gonna come back in. I'm gonna talk about the movie Pearl. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I took another shot. I want to give you guys a full hour. So we'll do these 15 minutes here, and then we'll fucking wrap this shit up. I always say this, but I do feel like I need something else on this podcast other than me just talking to myself. You know, I need like either some videos online, which I'm starting to try to get into. I need like letters from people. The problem is with letters with people is you have to have people listening. Or, you know, yeah, I do like funny advertisements, which I will, by the way, my first advertisement, I won't be one of those people that gets fired for doing bad ad reads. I'm going to keep it so professional. I might wear a suit and tie for my ad reads. All right, anyway, I wanted to talk about sort of what I'm watching. Hey, this week, dude. This looks like a great fucking week for television. Great fucking week for television. You got Severance coming out. It's been out for a couple weeks now. They're still coming out with episodes. You got Invincible being released this week. And oh my god. Those first 3 episodes of Invincible were amazing. They weren't amazing, but they were just so, like, that's the thing with Invincible is I feel like I have such a high expectation for it, but they were just great fucking episodes. They really were. Like, I sat down and I was like, I'm going to watch one, right? And they gave you 3 fucking episodes. Couldn't just watch one episode. Had to watch fucking all 3. Had to, right? Especially with that whole thing with Mark and Cecil, and if you haven't seen it, I don't want to give it away. But Jesus Christ, man, that fight scene was so fucking good. Especially the whole episodes just seem a lot more action-packed. And I've seen a lot of people online starting to talk about how the animation budget was cut and how it sucks now. And I think people are fucking crazy. Yes, there's just a clear fucking improvement of the animation. There's just a way better animation. And people keep showing, like, some of the best animation of the show. And it's like, I don't know if we've gotten to the best animation of the season yet. It just started. We got 3 episodes. We have 5 more hours left of the season. And already it's pretty good. Like, it's pretty good. And I think it's going to get better. That's always the thing with these good TV shows. They always start pretty slow. Because good storytelling knows that you got to kind of build. Building's huge. Building's very, very, very important. And I think Invincible kind of understands that. Severance was a little disappointing for me thus far. I've watched 2 episodes. And it's a lot of sort of the same with the Severance guy trying to figure out what's going on. And I thought a lot of it would have to do with the outside world, and it still has to do a lot with the inside world. So it's very odd. Very odd. But it's still very, very good. It's still very good. I thought what season one kind of led it up to be was that season two is going to be kind of this crazy, constant impact. And the thing is Severance does a very good job of making boring things feel entertaining through the cinematography, through the music, just through different, just good film, good film techniques, right? Where you're just like, yeah, what's going on is very, very boring, but I'm entertained. And those are the types of things that really, really impress me with film. Those are some of the things that really got me into film. Because you can get really autistic about it. You can get really retarded about film. And about this being like, yeah, what objectively happening is boring, but the way they're showing it is gorgeous and pretty and very interesting. So it kind of gets a pass. And that's a lot of Severance, I think. I think Severance is very good at telling boring things and making it at least seem very interesting. Whether you find what's going on interesting or not, you can't sometimes deny that you're being entertained. And so it's just looking like a damn good year. It's looking like a 2023 year. Right? Or no, 2022. Because 2022 had the last season of Attack on Titan. Still haven't finished it. Even though I watched all the way up till season 3. And halfway through season 4. Even though I watched all that. I watched halfway through season... whatever. Either way. The last season of Attack on Titan you had... the last season of Better Call Saul, you had the last season of Ozark, you had the last season of Close Enough. I'm pretty sure Succession had a season. I haven't watched Succession yet. Because there's just too much. There's too much to watch. There's too much on my plate. I'm watching The Sopranos right now. I'm getting caught up. I was born after the towers fell. I was born in 03. 03 wasn't that long ago. I know a podcast that has been around for 4 years shouldn't have a host that was born after the towers fell. I'm well aware. What are you going to do? I started this podcast as a manic decision while I was selling drugs. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? I know what you want from me. So, this year's looking pretty good for TV. It's looking pretty good. It's not looking that good for movies. It's not. It's not looking that good for movies. Speaking of movies, I can't help but talk about this movie, Pearl. I have to talk about this movie, Pearl, because I have some opinions on it. I really do. I really have a lot of opinions on this movie, Pearl. So if you don't know this movie, Pearl, I'll pull it up on the screen. If you want to check it out, you can check it out. I'll just show the poster of it. But I need people to, understand, okay, about this movie. A couple things. And really what I need people to, really grasp is that it's really a mediocre movie. It's a mediocre movie. It's like a 6 out of 10. And the actress who plays the main, protagonist, does maybe one of the best acting, some of the best acting I've ever seen in my entire life. which isn't long. My life is not long. I'm 21 years old. I get that. You don't need to remind me. But either way, I need people to understand that this is not one of the greatest horror movies of all time. This is not one of the best thrillers of all time. This is not one of the best slasher thrills of all time. This is definitely not one of the best horror movies of all time. People need to get that through their thick fucking skulls. They just do. I've heard too many people talk about this movie like it's The Shining. And I'm ready to start killing people. I'm literally ready to start killing people like Pearl. Just because you have one of the best performances of all time doesn't make up for the plot that literally doesn't make any sense. Like, literally, the plot of Pearl does not make any fucking sense. The movie starts, and this bitch, I guess. And this is also part of the problem, is that a lot of people who like this movie haven't seen the first one. Okay? And that's a big fucking problem. It's a big problem when a prequel goes viral and it's not even acknowledged that there's another movie that this movie was supposed to lead up to. Okay? I listened to a 9-minute conversation with Brian Simpson and Joe Rogan about how good this movie is, and it utterly pissed me off. Because I've had 3 conversations now, or heard 3 conversations with Pearl, 2 I've been included in, and every single time I get out of that conversation, I actually feel sick to my stomach. Okay? This movie is not that good. It's just not. So this bitch tries to audition for a play. She doesn't get it. So then she kills 6 people. And then you go, oh, what's going to happen with the husband? And then the husband shows up and the movie's over. That's the movie, by the way. That's the entire movie. Sorry for spoilers. But that's literally the entire movie. Is this bitch wants to become a big star. So she goes and auditions for this movie, and then she kills somebody who doesn't like her, and then kills her parents, and then the movie's over. That's the movie. It's not a good plot of a movie, okay? It's just not. Sorry, it's just not a good plot of a movie. And by the way, it doesn't make any sense. If you've seen the first movie, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So you have this character who's so dedicated to become famous and popular that she's willing to kill people, her own parents around her, right? But in the first movie, you find out that this character doesn't do anything but stay on a farm. She doesn't do anything but stay on a farm with her husband. And the only thing she's worried about is looking pretty, right? And so you're just like, how is Pearl going to lead up to the first movie? It doesn't. It doesn't lead up to the first movie at all. It sucks as a prequel, which is what it is. People are like, oh my God, the movie's so good. Oh my God, the performance is so good. It fails as a prequel. It fails with what it is. You know what it's like? It's like, oh my God, we're going to establish democracy in Iraq. We're going to establish democracy in Iraq. Well, we failed at establishing a democracy, but we killed a lot of Muslims. So there's a win, but it's like, but that's not what your intention was. Your intention was to create a prequel of the movie X. That was the goal of the movie. Okay, I don't care that you killed a bunch of Muslims. Okay, I don't care that the girl of this movie, the star, gave one of the best performances ever. If the plot sucks and it doesn't do what it was set out to do, which was be a prequel. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You had me sit through X. Can I talk about X? I'm sorry. Am I allowed to talk about the first movie? Am I allowed to talk about the first movie? Okay? Which, by the way, okay, can I talk about the first movie? I'm going to talk about the first movie, X. Which I know a lot of people who love the movie Pearl haven't even seen the first fucking movie. Wait, even Brian Simpson says this on the Joe Rogan podcast. Which is basically it's set in stone. It's set in stone if you're on the Joe Rogan podcast and you give your opinion on the Joe Rogan podcast. So it's like these people who like the movie Pearl haven't even seen the first movie X. Which is like, what does our culture come to? What does our society come to where everybody fetishizes a fucking prequel when they haven't even seen the first movie? I had a conversation about the movie Pearl. And I said, yeah, I don't like the movie Pearl. I don't like the movie Pearl. I don't like the plot. The plot doesn't make any fucking sense. The movie barely has a plot. The color scheme of the movie is completely fucking utterly horrendous. It fails as a prequel. It completely fails what it set out to do. And the writing doesn't make any sense. And the person I was talking to was a woman, and she looked at me and she said, well, you're not a woman, so you don't understand. And I looked at her, I swear to God, and I go, have you seen the first movie? And she goes, no. What are we doing here? What are we doing? What? What are we doing here? What are we doing here when we're arguing, oh, you don't understand the movie because of your gender, even though I haven't seen the first movie? Which, by the way, I'm going to talk about X now, which has a cuckold scene with Jenna Ortega and Kid Cudi. Yeah. The movie everybody's obsessing over, Pearl, the first one has a Kid Cudi, Jenna Ortega cuckold scene. Can you explain how Pearl explained the cuckold scene? Can you do that for me? Can you explain how Pearl was so necessary to explain the cuckold scene with Kid Cudi and Jenna Ortega? Can somebody fucking do that, please? Can anybody do that without sounding like a complete fucking retarded faggot? Seriously. Can somebody explain how the movie Pearl deeply explains the cuckold scene between Kid Cudi and Jenna Ortega? What retarded faggot needs to come out and explain this to me so it makes sense to my fucking brain? And does the Kid Cudi, Jenna Ortega cuckold scene, does that scene get me really upset because I watched it with my best friend and my ex-girlfriend where they fucked each other after we broke up, by the way. By the way, that's your fan base of Pearl and X, is people who will fuck each other, who have a deep relationship with somebody else. That's involved. Congratulations, that's your fan base. And you're not going to get me to, appreciate the cuckold scene while I was cucked by my best friend fucking my ex-girlfriend. You're just not going to do that. Thanks, Dominic, you stupid faggot. You're just not going to do that. Dominic, I hope Trump deports your fucking parents. Okay? You're just not going to get me to appreciate Pearl and X. You're just not. Sorry. And for the people who haven't had that experience, I don't want you coming at me saying, oh, it's because you're a man. Sorry, you're a man, so you don't understand the cuckold scene. Fuck off. And I certainly don't need you to look at me and tell me how you really need me to watch Pearl to explain or to fully experience the cuckold scene. I don't need that. Sorry. Sorry, I don't need that. It's not necessary in my life. You see what 2 shots does to me? You see what the difference between one drink and a shot and a drink? I get very passionate. Cuz. So yes, the girl who plays Pearl does a fantastic job. It in no way explains why the character Pearl stayed on a farm her entire life with her military husband, or why her military husband was completely okay with her murdering her parents and a guy she was cheating on him with. It doesn't explain that. It doesn't explain that. Sorry. And it certainly doesn't explain how she got away with murder. Sorry, the movie Pearl doesn't explain how she got away with murder of at least 3 or 4 people. Sorry. Sorry it fails as a prequel, which is what it was set out to do. Sorry. And I'm sorry I don't appreciate the cuckold scene. I'm sorry. Sorry, I think the movie Pearl sucks. Thank you for listening to the Kpush Podcast. This has been the Kpush Podcast, episode 167. I believe this has been a solo episode. I hope you enjoyed the Alex Ollinger podcast. I hope you enjoyed the Nick V podcast. I'm doing a show every Friday. Oh, I didn't even talk about the show. I didn't even talk about the show on Friday. Whatever, we'll talk about it the next solo episode. I'm done. This podcast is over. I do a show every Friday night on East 6th Street at the Cold Town Theater. You should come see me if you can, if you're in Austin. If not, that's okay. We'll get a website set up. Hopefully at some point here. Hopefully we're making money. But either way, I'm going to be doing a comedy show every Friday night at Cold Town Theater on East 6th Street in Austin, Texas. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been Chris Pushkar on the Kpush Podcast. Goodbye.